an international interview. What is your name, and can you tell me the 5 books which is begin from your name? So first name of your alphabets. So this is the same quiz which I am repeating you all, guys. So be ready for that. For all these notes, I move for the next slide. So, and today I will discuss the in archive and information world. So I will discuss the background. What is the background for the archive and information world, and then archives. What is archive? I will just provide the definition. What is archive and the types of archival material and archivist. And archivist is librarian. What is the archive and what is the archivist is librarian, and we will also discuss the archive and information world. Similarly, and then the other part I will just cover that this is the physical part of which I was discussing in this slot, and in second part, which is not mentioned in the scheme of presentation, I will going to discuss regarding the archive and the digital world. So you have to ready for that. What are the challenges in archive and digital world, and what are the advantage of archives, and where the archive and digital worlds are exist. So for all these notes, I'm just moving to the next slide. You have to understand that what topic we will cover today. Just a moment. So you all can hear me? I just need to acknowledge from you all, guys. If you all can hear me, mention on the chat box. I am just beginning today's presentation with the one of the interesting quotation with the Henry Ward Beach, which is an American author. He has mentioned that a library is not a luxury, but one of the necessity of life. It is a there are some typo error here. Library is not. It is a part of the life, necessity of the life. So this is the right quotation. Library is not luxury. So this is so far we know that what we are saying that the investing in the library is not a luxury. It's a part of life. It is a necessity of life. Yeah, if you are reading that, you are investing in your mind something. You are investing in your brain. Though it's not a physical outcome will become here, because that you all get the physical benefit or advantage in terms of money and in terms of rupees or in terms of the financial transaction. But investing it is a necessity in the life, because you can, when you're reading, then your mind is exploring the things. You learn the norms, how to deal with the people, how to talk with the people, how to understand the situation, and creative ideas has been come when you read. So it is it's necessity how to deal with the people, how to talk with the people, how to spend their life. So it is being very important for this quotation. I'm just move for the next slide. So anyone who has an idea about what is archive? Anyone who wants to tell me? From the different people who are being interested in the chat box. Anyone who wants to believe that what is archive? So guys, any idea about what is archive? Shazib Ali is saying that the archives are rare material. Shibas. I'm sorry if I am wrongly pronounced your name. Please forgive me. Muniba Ahmed Awan, she is saying that the historic record Architect, Sana, it's not a good way to architect. Is a different thing from archive. Anyone else? I quite a bit agreed with the Shibaz Ali for the archive as the real material, and some agreement agree with the statement of the Muniba. She is saying that the historical record, Hafiz Jafar Hussain, yes, I agree with also historical record. Asma is also provide a very suitable definition regarding that, the important paper and historical record. Anyone else who wants to add that? There is a history that historical record. Do you know that how the history is created? Anyone else? Um, how the history is created? History of records. Samina Salim, she is also saying. Anyone else? Yeah, I agree with your thoughts. So there is a word like all familiar with that. I'm also noting something else. You will see that record is important incident with somewhere as the paper and picture. Archive is the primary source of document. Yes, of course. One of the good definition provided by the Ghulam Muhyiddin. So I will just mention two words. You can see on that my slide. I have mentioned the fashion and the culture. So when you are doing today, it is called your fashion. So there are different fashion. Female students are more familiar with that, as well as the male students. We have the different shirt style, we have different clothing style, and we have different fashions. But within the passage of time, it will become the tradition. And after that, it will become the part of culture. And when it is being obsolete, it became the history, and when it became the history, it became the part of our archive. So whatever it today is a present, it is your fashion, but whatever it will be obsolete, so it will become the part of your archive. Similarly, within the passage of time, things are being obsolete. So you have to understand, then if someone trace out your past, this is called the history. This is called your history. If those people who are is being alive, but whatever they past their world, they become the part of the history. So yesterday we are seeing a match between the Pakistan and Zimbabwe, the third T20. So when the match is going on, this is the present. But today, these are being the part of the archive. If someone asks me about what is the Zimbabwe series to Pakistan, can anyone else how much score by the Muhammad Rizwan, or how many wickets is being taken? Sometime it is being stand as a document. There is two things you have to understand, that there are two things. Currently, which is used, any document is called your document. But within the passage of time, it is a part of the history. It is called the archive. So if your document is currently is known as a document, within the passage of time, it will become the archive. Similarly, when Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who is studying in a Sindh Madrasatul Islam University, Sindh Madrasatul Islam School in 1888 to 1892. The register, which I have seen personally when I was working in Sindh Madrasatul Islam University, when that time Qaid-e-Azam is studying, it is called that document. But today, it has become the part of archive. So for all this background, I am moving for the next slide, so that you will be clear that how it is being going on. So There is also something else you for your knowledge. I'm just adding and then history and then archive. Do you have any questions you mention on the chat box? If you feel comfortable, so there is no need. Oh, I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for that. There is a tradition and history which is being not clearly, you can visible that. Tradition and history. Tradition is being that the you have in a, you belongs to the any area, then there is some tradition. Some tradition is that in a like you are doing something like that. Some people have the traditional foods, but within the passage of time, that food being obsolete. That within the passage of time, someone we are eating a specific food from this specific area, like we are very familiar with that in Multan, that the Sohan halwa is one of the traditional halwa, as in similarly in Khanpur, the peda of Khanpur, it is being the very traditional food. But if someone asks about today's what is the tradition food of in Multan, then people are saying that the pizza, we are found to eat pizza. So the traditional food and the traditional item is similarly. We have the traditional wearing dress. Somewhere people are specific wearing the specific type of turban as well as the caps. So they are being the identity. But within the passage of time, it became the part of the culture, and after that, it will be obsolete. If it still exists, so it is being still part of your culture. Similarly, in province Sindh, we have the specific part which is known as the ajrak. We wore on our shoulders, so it is still part of our culture because people are still doing that. If people are leave out that kind of a thing, so it is called that it is not part. It is became the part of the history. Similarly, in our many villages in Punjab, I have visited in the main cities, people are being specific traditional clothes, but nowadays people are not doing on the traditional clothes. So people are wearing the standard dress like the shalwar kameez and the pant shirts. So pants and trouser and shirt. So it is being that it is being their existing fashion, and then I have seen so many places for 2 decades ago when I was a kid. Then people are wearing the dhotis in different parts of Lahore as well as Faisalabad. I'm seeing that people, but nowadays I did not see anything else. Maybe someone else is wearing, but this is a part of their tradition, their history. Not this is a current fashion, not is a current tradition. So I hope you guys will be clear for that. Tradition and the history. Ghulam Muhyiddin. So there is a definition of archive. Archive is a collection of the historical document and the record providing information about the place, institution, or group of a people. So it is being a very simple definition. Then you can understand that collection of historical document. So you have to understand what is the current document is known as a document, but within the passage of time it will be obsolete. So or there are two ways: it will be obsolete, or it will be the usage is being rare usage. So it will become the part of your archive. Similarly, if you have your transcript, if you've done the MLIS after giving the exam because you are near to get your degree, it will be your document. People are not saying it will be your archive because most frequently you use that document. People are asking about your CVs, so you show your degree. People are asking about your qualification, then you show your degree. So for all that, and whatever, you will become the retired after getting the higher post and serving. So it will be, no one asks about your qualification. So it will say that it will be an archival record for you. that someone asking you, your grandson and your granddaughter will asking you what is my grandfather is doing. So you will say that I was MLIS, my son. So you can see my archival record. So this is being the difference between the document and the archive. So for the very simplest definition, a collection of historical document or a record providing information about the place, institution, or a group of people. For all these notes, I move to the next slide. So I did not receive any responses from you all guys. Anyone who on the quiz I was asking for you all, those who are newcomer and recently joined in the this session, I have a quiz for you all guys. You have to tell a book which is begin with your name. This is the today's quiz. So I will, it will be receive acknowledgement receive that how interest you will take in your workshop and your profession. So archive, this is yes, in previous slide I have just provided a simple definition, but in today's in current slide I have just provide a detail or deep insight of the archive. So you have to read that material created or received by a person or family or organization or public private in the conduct of their affairs preserved because of enduring values and content contained in the information they contain, or as evidence of the function of responsibility of their creators. So every document is not archival document. It is being, I mentioned earlier in the public record that all the records of the public record is the public. So every document is not archival document. But in a sense, you have to make, if you have a lease paper of your home, so it is being that it is known as your archival record. So you may show that, you may display whenever, whatever the court order that, yeah, if you have the honor of your plot or if you honor of your home, your house. So what will you do? You will just display that records because you are the owner, because my grandfather was the owner, and then it is transferred to my father, and today is the I am the current holder of that property. So your lease paper is being known as a document. So as evidence you can present it, especially those material maintained using the principle of provenance. Provenance we will read that I will when in the third lecture. Anyone who is know that what is the provenance? Original orders, collection, collective control, and the permanent record. Anyone who wants to contribute the provenances, so if you know that, so today we will discuss, but in the next slide, in the next lecture, I will discuss in a very detail. Anyone who has idea? Provenances means it is a criteria for the set of criteria to how you will manage an archive and how it will take that document as a archive. So types of archive, it is being very important, is the everything which is being known as an archive, and what is the archive and our format we will all discuss in the coming slide, what will be the formats of archive. Similarly, in slide, I have mentioned that archive can be hold both published and unpublished material, and those material can be in any format. And some examples are the manuscript. Manuscript is a published material or non-published material. Anyone who can tell me? Manuscript is a published material, yes or no? For all, I need responses from you all guys. Manuscript is a published material or on non-published material. Please don't mention on the chat box. I want to take your last question on on the poll site. Manuscript is a published material or non-published material. I'm just going to publish. Thank you very much for near about the 27 people. 28 people are responses, and I have received 5 responses on the no side and 4 responses from the yes. Oh, 4 responses. I'm just going to publish the poll, and big applause for all those people who is response their answer on no site. So the big applause for all the winners. For those who are saying that the no manuscript means the book is not published. It's a written document, but it is not published. So you have to be clear about that. Manuscript means it is being a document which is prepared for that, but it is not published yet. So you have to clear, these are being the very minor concepts. So you have to clear all that point. Thank you very much for all those guys who are participating. I appreciate it for all the 33 people, for those who are saying yes or no. It's a book type, it's a publish. So it's a handwritten material and the manuscript. Manuscript means it is a handwritten book, but it is not published yet in something else. It is being kept in a somewhere else. But due to the any circumstances, that book is not published. A gentleman who has written the book, who is written somewhere else, but it is not published. So you have to clear that. What is the difference between the manuscript and the letters? You have written, like we all are the similar. If you are the students of the class first year or second year, you will read the letters of Ghalib. We are familiarly known as that Khutut Ghalib. And then photographs, most previous photographs, and as well as the diaries. Recently, we have published a diary of ex-president General Ayub Khan, and there are so many diaries. Artifacts, which is personally things which belongs to the any person, personal belonging of any person, is known as artifacts. So, and then the digital equivalent of all these things, or similarly, we have the digital things which is available on that slot is known as a equivalent. You know that. Someone else is saying that the audio is not working. Muniba is saying that the audio is not working. Anyone else? I am not audioable to you all. Mention on the chat box, so I will check myself. There is a drawback for the online learning. Thank you, Ghulam Mohyuddin. Thank you for support me. Kaisar Abbas, thank you. Thank you, Bushra Rabbani and Hafizul Hassan. So for all these notes, I am just working. Move for the next slide. What is the thing? And the second, I have just mentioned you the archive. We have defined the archive. Then the archivist. Who is the archivist? I have just a question. Can a librarian be an archivist? Can a librarian be an archivist? Or librarian be a librarian? Anyone else who wants to help me? Just answer that. Can a librarian be an archivist? I've just created a poll from you all guys. Mention on the chat box. Yes or no? For this is very simple. Can an librarian be an archivist? Mention on the chat box beside the writing on the chat box. Please mention on the poll. So I will appreciate you if you participate on the poll. Poll is displayed on your screen. So I'm just closing the poll for all those person who is just mentioning that I have received 25th responses. Please mention be quickly, so I will just display the result and move forward it. We have to cover a lot. Can an archivist be a librarian or librarian be an archivist? I'm just going to publish the poll for all. A very bad response from all the 5 guys who is saying that the no. And a big applause for all the 27 and my genius students. A big applause for all the 23rd students, sorry, who are saying that the librarian can become the archivist. Yes, of course, a librarian can become the archivist. This is the true answer. Those who are saying that the no, there's no reason, because the archivist is a sub part of a librarian. Similarly, yesterday we discussed the public record. Public record is a sub-component of a library. Similarly, the archive or archiving the material is a sub-part of a library or subdivision of a library. If anyone who is doing MLIS from Sindh University, they are awarding the degree Master of Library and Information Science and Archives. That means a librarian can become the archivist. A librarian can become the archivist. So this is the thought you have to clear about that. So I will talk about the archivist, an individual responsible for appraising, acquiring. See the duties. See the duties. If you read the duties and what we are doing there, an individual is responsible appraising, acquiring, arranging, and preserving and providing access to record of enduring according to the principle of province's original order, collection to the control. The individual is working with that, the same treatment the librarian are doing. Librarian are acquiring the things, arranging the things, describing the thing, preserving the things, and providing access to the record. So the same thing which is librarian are doing, acquisition, collection, acquisition, arranging, that means classification and cataloging, and preserving, that we have the shelving the books, and providing access, and we facilitate the user. In other words, in librarian, similarly, in archive, we are providing access to the record and enduring values according to the principle of province's original record, original order and control. For those who are the misunderstood regarding the concept, so I will just elaborate in a further in next slide. We are discussing that what is the difference between the library and archive. So archival center or library and archival material. So your thoughts will be more clear and your concept will be more clear. So for all these notes, I'm moving to the next slide. So now you will be clear. One more thing I just wanted to mention you, there is two English spelling definitions. Some people is being considered the archive word is used for the both singular as plural, and some people are taking the archive right with the archive with the s, plural of the archive is s. So I have choose the definition, the right word of the archive is without s. So there is a difference between the archives and libraries. So your concept will be more clear. Archive is the lower domain beside the libraries. In libraries, archive are the sub-part or sub-component or subsection. So you have to understand that. And librarian and library are a broader concept. A librarian can be in charge of archive, but archivist is just look after his department until only it's running a full-fledged an archival department. So you have to clear about that. So I have just going to read about that. The published material, the archive will keep the published material. Oh, I'm sorry. Just a moment. There's something very blended regarding my typing. I'm so careless whenever whatever I type the document. I have just mentioned you. I have just treat you all guys. It is the right way. It's about the library. It's about the library and libraries. Sorry, and it's all about the archive. I'm sorry for that. There is typo error. I'm so careless. A big pardon for you all guys. This is about the archive. I'm sorry. This is about the archive. So this is the part, and then this is the left side. You are seeing this is all about the libraries on the from my screen side, and the left and the right side it is all about the archive. So the guys, you are clear that in the libraries we keep the library published book material, books, and periodicals. In archive we keep the record of unpublished and published material, like records like letter, diaries, and posters. Okay, in similar thing. We can in libraries we can browse and retrieve the material very easily. You may go to the library if the library have the open access. If you are visited in any library, all of guys, you have visited the library. Anyone else who did not visit any library, just mention in the chat box. Anyone, any librarian, because you should know and familiar with the libraries, and you should know the activities which is being held in the library. So I just requesting you, if you are visited library, if you are visited any library, that's good. If you are not visited any library, still if you are not visited any library, then I am just requesting you all guys, please visit the library. So, and we can browse and retrieve the material yourself. In a library, we can do all the things. You can go to the library and you can take the books from the shelf. But in an archival center, and thank you, Muniba is only visited the library, and rest of them, they are not visiting the library. Oh, Asma Fakhr is showing you are the visitor of the, you are working on the medical library. That's great. I'm also working in the medical library. That's good. Farhana Ghazali is also visited the library. Ansar Rashid is also visited the library, and rest of them is not visited the library. If you are not visit the library, and then I just request you, please visit the library. Good if you are visited the public library. So we are just special material request from the, we are doing the, in an archive, we have to special request for the material from staff, because in archive are being keep in a special way, and for special way, and keep in a special take care archival material. So nobody can touch directly and just press the material, because they are very sensitive, because they are being spending so much time and environment. So it will take time. Good. Mufti Mahmood Public Library, D.I. Khan, someone else. Sharbani is also visited. Hafiz Jafar Hussain is working on the IMBB Library, BZU Multan. Medical Library, Azam Saab. So it's nice to know the medical librarian are doing the MLIS. Very appreciable. So all this stuff, you should know about that, the archive and the libraries. What is the difference between the archive and the library? So in the libraries, we have the multiple copies of any book or any specific collection. But in archive, we have a specific collection. We don't have the duplicate collection. Like if someone else who has the copy of Khutut Ghalib, original manuscript of the Ghalib. So it is not essential that every library have keep that record. And defense library, we have a imprint of the Holy Quran, which was presented by the Caliphate of Hazrat Osman Ghani. So it's near about the 1400 say old book, old Holy Quran. So we have a specific copy at the defense library, and no one else have the additional number. Additional copy in a different part of the library in Karachi. Similarly, in a library, if we lost or damaged any material, there is no problem. You can be just pay the fine, and you can just got the librarian will pick the new edition or new books. But on the other hand, the archival material is not irrepressible. What happened with that if an archive is damaged or archive will be lost? Similarly, if you have your have the home paper, if it be lost somewhere else, if you have birth certificate of your grandfather or someone else, if you have your personal diary, if it being lost, so can you prepare that diary again? No, because it's a very sensitive document. So it is being the material irreplaceable. In the libraries, we have the material is being lost. This doesn't matter. You can buy the new one. If you not find the previous one, there is an advantage. You can buy the latest material in the library. Suppose that I have just share our experience here myself. A student who has lost the book regarding the computer programming. So it's a 3.5 version. The book is not available in the market. So I'm saying that can you buy the new latest version, which is available the version 7 of that programming. So he brings the latest version. So it is an advantage in a library. And the other thing is that you can borrow the material from the libraries. No problem. Doesn't matter if someone needs some book like me, like you can come and borrow the book. But the material items are must view on site. If you have visited any archive, you cannot borrow that material because the archival material are unique and there is no duplicate copy. So what will be happen is that you cannot retrieve the archival record. So it is being important. These are being the same. There are being the main difference between the libraries and archive. So I hope you all are familiar with that, and you are familiar that the librarian can become the part of the archivist. If someone or somewhere else you are seeing the post of archivist in a newspaper, so I will advise you if you have interest in archive, so you can apply on that post. So clear for that, because after 2 or 3 months you got the degree, and you can you got the degree and you can become the librarian. So in the searching of job, if some places the position of archives or archivist will be archivists are announced, so you may apply on that post. So for all these notes, I move to the next slide. IMBB department is a medical department. So the purpose of the archive service, why we need the archive services? So we need some legal obligations or legal need. We will do that archive services. And similarly, for the historical preservation of historical perspective, we need the archive services. For the public relation, we need the archive services. And organizational continuity. If you are working in any organization, you also need the continuity to maintain the archival record. Similarly, most people are different. People are working in a different part. I have received that someone is working in the IMBB department, Multan Medical. So you have maintained your own record, the archive. And then you have got the someone else who is working in a public library in the Mufti Mahmood Public Library, DI Khan. So you may have an archival record of your department as well, when the Mufti Mahmud library is being built up and how many collection is that, who is the first librarian. It is archival record. Who is the first librarian of the Mufti Mahmud library? Who is the first librarian of any building, any library which is situated at the IMBB. So these are being the part, and this is being the part for the organizational continuity. And then the digitalization. Archival services also provide for the digitalization, and digitalization means there are so many printed materials in a shape and their paper are being the damage. So if you digitalize that material, and the last lecture you are seeing that I have visited to you all guys, ISMIC library near about the UK, AKU London, where you've seen that the so many archival material is being, manuscripts is being digitalized format, and you can view that material. There are about the 250 books. You may see that the ISMC library. If you browse after the workshop session, I don't know whether you browse that material or not, but we are keeping that work here. So there is a good potential. You should digitalize your material or digitalize your records, as well as I have just showing the archive of the today's at the KMC, Karachi Metropolitan Corporation in Karachi. I visited there in 2016 due to my some research work. So I just showing that the screen here. So you may see that what is the record, archival record in Karachi Municipal Library, if I am available there. I'm just showing that slide at the end of the presentation. I will show you that the archive of the Karachi Municipal Corporation. So I move to the second part. What are the challenges to maintain the archive? One of the questions Sarfraz is asking, can we coded the archival material? In a context of the classification, you are asking about, yes, of course, you made the definitely coding to our archival material. So it will be easy to read your archival material. So it is not possible that you can, without coding, you can also do retrieve the archival material. There are some, you are do the same treatment like you are doing in a classification. You can assign the subject heading for that archival record or material, as well as you are made the call number to retrieve the archival material. But it would be better to suggest to assign the subject heading and coding. So it will be better to you find the archival material. I hope the point will be clear, Sarfraz. So thank you. I will appreciate your questions. If you are asking the questions like Sarfraz, that will be showing that your interest you are evoking and actively participate in the classroom, or maybe you feel the hunger or fasting. So if you are feel hunger, fasting, or sleeping, so I will request you all guys to be awake and take active participant in this workshop, because it's a wonderful opportunities for you all guys to understand and listen the things for your relevant subjects, and you got the live conversation. So it will be, I always appreciate the questions. So besides Sarfraz, all are sleeping or take fasting or something, feel hungers. Oh, only you are. Okay, you all guys are energetic. Okay, that's great. So there's another challenge. As these are the challenges I was discussed here. Sorry for that. I just go to the previous slide. What are the main challenges to maintain? Because I'm just involved in the answering the first question. Space. Space is the main challenge to maintain the archive, because every library doesn't have the full space. So it is being question for you all guys, how to maintain the space if your library doesn't have. And one more thing, Muniba is asking that every library has the archive portion. No, every library doesn't have the archive portion. So in which library we have the archival portion? Because the need of the library, because in academic library we doesn't need the archive, because academic library we are being the very active and versatile. Like if you are working in a scientific library, like a research library like AKU or somewhere else in a medical librarianship, so there is no need to maintain the archive. Or if you are working in an engineering university library, then they are so active and advanced. And if you are working in a computer-based library, so archive is basically existing in a public library because it's a public record. So as you know that the topic over that, it's a public record, it's a public identity, it's a public responsibility. And archives also exist in a national record. It's a national duty of a nation to preserve their record and their history. So archive is being exist in a public library as well as the national library, as well as the archives also exist in a historical library, in some library who is a prospective and a special nature to preserve the history of a nation. Like anyone else who is working in a area study center which is being established in the different part of the universities. Like in Karachi we have the area study center, in Punjab University I know that there is an area study center, as well as area study centers also exist in a KPK as well as in Balochistan, I know that. So in a such part in a such part we have we are maintaining the archive. So you know that the main domain of the archive is public sector, public library, as well as the national library, as well as the cultural library. We have the different part of the cultural library which is come under the domain of the public library in Sindh. So they are maintaining the archive, because academic library are doing that kind of a job. This is very difficult because academic library has different rules and responsibility. So it is being duty to a public library or the historical library or the national library or a library which is some archival center is being established for that part. So I will discuss in the last lecture, in 30th of April. So for all these notes, I hope we have cleared the challenge of the space. So in all library, we are not talk about that. They become the part of the and then we have the expertise. We don't have a good experts who can preserve the material, who can conserve the material. I was visited when I was doing the MLIS, and my MLIS topic is the Pakistan National Museum, so a case study. So I visited the National Museum and I visited the antiquities in 2008. So I have seen that it doesn't have the expert like who is familiar with the conservation and the preservation of the material. So if we need the expertise, so we will maintain a good archival record. And the infrastructure, every public library or good public library or the provincial library, we doesn't have a good infrastructure to maintain the record. And the most important thing in infrastructure that nowadays we are talk about the 3D printing, which is we can do that the printing, as well as we have the plotters. We have a big printer where we can print the maximum manuscripts or calligraphy, as well as we need the different techniques to digitalize the material. So the infrastructure is being also important. And then the fourth challenge is the funding. Funding is also a big challenge to maintain the archive because we don't have a proper fund. In 2005 to 2010, there is a special funding in Sindh archive. They have maintained and recorded, update their archival, the records of the provincial records updated and archive them in a digital process. So the funding is being also main issue to maintain the good archives, like archival center. And then the awareness, and most of them being as a nation, we are unaware that how why archive is essential for us, and what is the need of an archive, and what is the role of archival material in over the society. As just I have quoted in the just day before yesterday presentation, if we don't have libraries, we have no past. So if we have the library and we have maintained the archive, then we have the past. Because in archive, there is an office in London, which is known as a Indian Office Record. All the records of our good history over the brilliant past in the Mughals period, or the British Raj will come here and they took our records, and all the records are kept in the Indian Library Records Office at London. So India and Pakistan both are claiming that record because this is our past and this is our history. As well as Bangladesh is also claiming that because they have also some records of the Bengali language on that library. So this is being the awareness, because if we needed some record over the past, so we have to contact the Indian Office Record Office at UK to get that kind of record. So our past is being theft, and I have seen that some records in Interior Sindh Library and Pir Jhardo Library, which is situated at Pir Bagada Sahib Library, there are some records, but people are being smuggled that records and sell out in different parts of the international community, because people are being not aware of that, and they are keeping that record and sell out to the local people, and they will be smuggled, and after that records will be sell out in very high prices via auction at international market. So we need the awareness. These are being the 5 important challenges regarding the archive, because we are being take part from the different cities of Pakistan. So if in every cities we have to maintain the archive, so we will know that our traditional or culture, how rich we are and how rich our heritage. Because I know that we have a Indus Valley civilization in Sindh, as well as we have the civilization of Taxila, Harappa. So we know that kind of civilization as well. And your question is that one of my friend is working in a museum. Muniba is asking a question. I just want to respond you guys. So I just read her question. Sir, one of my friend is working in a museum where digital information about the history of Pakistan is maintained, and one can listen audio and videos relating the history of Pakistan. Could we categorize it is the archive, or it is something else? Yes, of course, you will categorize it as an archive, because it's an archival material. If it is a shape, if it is in a shape of audio visual records, what is the nature of that record? Either it is being the TDC audio cassettes, or it is being in a microfiche or microfilm. It is depend upon the nature of that record. So it is definitely a great assets of Pakistan. So we should keep it, and we should treat as archival material in a museum, because these items are being not kept in a library. So it is a keep in a museum. So it is known as antiquities. So antiquities are those material which is keep in a museum. So it is a basic definition. If it is keep in any library, that record, so it will be treated as an archive. But if there are some professional librarian, so he or she may also treat as an archive. basically the things which are kept in the museum, which is known as antiquities, if it is kept in a library, that it will be treated as an archive. So I hope you got the point which I wanted to say, but it is a information, so you will keep that and treat as an archive as well. So I hope you got the answer. So one of the gentlemen who is continuously asking regarding the PPT slides. So I mentioned in my first lecture, and those people who are who is sending email me, I will just share I will definitely share presentation to him or her. Okay, so if you got the presentation, if you need the presentation, so you email me, I will share presentation with you all guys. Because people are just mentioning their email addresses on that chat box, so I will not entertain you. Only 2 students yesterday. I will send you only 2 students because they email me, so I will respond them. If you need the presentation, so you can email me. I will definitely share presentation with you all guys. And for all these notes, I will talk about the archival and digital words. Before this, we are just talking about all the things which is related to I am just focusing on the printed material. Now I'm talking about what is the archive in the digital age. Anyone idea who want to say what do you understand if you talk about the archive in the digital age? Anyone who has idea if you talk about the archive in a digital age? What do you understand? What do you mean by the archive in a digital age? Anyone who wants to write on the chat box? I just wanted to listen from you all guys. Archive in a digital world. Yes, of course, converted the data or information, some audio or video form. No, it is not. In an archive, in other sense, there are 2 things. To take the backup, it's also known as archive. If you are anyone else who has visited the website of the Daily Jung or Daily Dawn newspaper, any one of guys who are visiting that the newspaper, which I was asking you all guys who are visiting the jung.com.pk or dawnnews.com. No one wants to read and no one interested in a reading newspaper. Oh, only 2% are interested in reading newspapers. So if you are visited, then they are maintaining their archive as well as since they are being digitalized in, I think so, in 2004 or 5, they are being 2003, their newspaper is being they are in 2003 they are being online their newspaper and material, as well as they are being archiving their library, their newspaper record. So within the passage of time, when material are being known, you can also visit it. There is no need for that. You have to visit it. Like you can visit a newspaper site. I just wrote down on the chat box. You may visit it at jung.com.pk and as well as the Dawn News if you want to read the Urdu version, and dawn.com.pk for the English version, dawn.com. is for the English version. If you want to read the non-Urdu version, then you may enter right here. Dawn News. So these are being the website, and they are maintaining their digital records. So what we are talking about, the previously we are talking about the, so there is in a digital age, you cannot say that I don't have access to the information. This is one of the beauty of the digitalization, and this is one of the beauty of the technology. Everything is reachable and everything is accessible for you all guys. So you cannot say that I am not accessible, I am not familiar with that, because everything is available in just your click and your fingertips. So being as a librarian, you should know the things. You have to maintain the things with your fingertips as well. So this is being the things these are being the archival. Some are the printed materials we have discussed in a very detail, and some are the digital bonds material, because some people are being newspaper are continuously publishing in a e-format, and they are being definitely recorded. And similarly, the newspaper and the similarly in the different channels, they have the video clips. You are seeing that in talk shows, they are saying that in 2017 dharnas you are saying that, and 2020 you are saying that. So how these are things is being managed, because all the records is being preserved in their archives, and when they need it in a digitally bound material, so they are being just pick up them and they show to the public. So this is being the advantage for the digital bound material. Printed bound material, you have to work with that and you have to convert in the digital material. So all these, finally all these archive become the printed archive or digital bound, or the printed converted into digital bound, shifted to the information, and whenever whatever you required, you will display that information, you will use that information. So this is being the important in archive digital words. We have the three types of information, like printed material, which have discussed in a very detail, and we have the digital bound material when we are converting all the material which is produces, like this talk, the session which I'm talking to all guys since last 70 minutes. And if you have keep that record, if you recorded by the Allama Iqbal University, maybe they will run that the same session in 2022. So that will be preserved there in, they will archive that, take the backup of that record, and if they required in the next time they need that session to run the 5651, so they will run that slide. So what will be happen that this is the digital bound material, and they, when the information is required, they will use that information. So printed converted into the digital material, and some we have the digital material, we have printed material in a different libraries in different formats. There is still records. We have the pre-independence period or independence period, because the computer and internet has come in 1992. So after that record, there is still a lot of record which is need to be digitalized, and they are shaped in a printed format, but the paper has a life. After that, paper will be the paper is being obsolete, or paper is being dead, or paper is being destroyed. So we have to save that record. We need to convert our printed material, convert into digital format, so that information can be used in the future. For all these guys, for all these notes, should I move for the next slide? And Farooq Sabai, just resolve your problem, because you are continuously saying that you need a lecture and presentation. So if you are available in the classroom, so I'm just mentioning my email address once again for you all guys, so you can select that presentation as well with me. There are the same challenges for the digital archiving. Digital archiving is being very interesting projects, and different institutions are being funding on that projects. So you may do that, you may pick that. In digital archive, we also challenges for the resources and the educations, because in the digital archive we are treat the different things and different terminology of preservation, fumigations, as well as the conservation of the material. So we need the education. We have challenges to maintain the resources, because maintaining the archive, it is not a low cost project, because it's need a high funding and high rising of fund. And similarly, we our librarian need a special skills and education, as well as the training to maintain and keep the records as well. So these are being the challenges. If we will do that, then we retrieve the information from the archives. So after that, and in a digital archive, we have the different slots and format. So what will be the slots and format? I'm just going to discussion. So internet and types of the digital archive or internet archive. So internet archive or digital archive, what is the definition? We have received the information. Web pages are being definitely changes within the passage of time. So every institution change their website. So what will be happen? You have to archive their records on their website. So backup of the data. We have also types of that. We have taken the backup of your data, which is also known as archive. Because if I'm asking about that, if someone who is what is the do you have familiar with the guys, one of the important website, if anyone who has interest in a cricket, do you know that the familiar of the Crick Info website? Do you all know, guys, you know that the one of the interesting website, I like that, right? It's one of the favorite website. So if you are familiar, if you have the keen interest and keen lover of the cricket match, so this is the web. Sorry, info is just INF, not OOR. Okay. So all the records are they are maintaining. Not so good in typing. This is being the real website. So Crick Info is one of the websites. So you can all the view the archival records or archival matches. You can also know the view or review all the updates of the different players or different cricketers and different formats of the cricket. T20 different formats like one-day test matches and T20 as well. So they are maintaining that all the things is being going on. So they are being maintained on a web pages. So we are using that records. And similarly, in a library, you have maintained the different records of the library, but within the passage of time, you are updating your website. So you will keep in as a backup of that website. So if you take the data backup, your serial publication is also type of the website. In a serial publication, different journals, they are just updating their 2 or 3 years current publication on their website, and after that they will keep on these material on their archives. Similarly, a journal is being published from the Allama Iqbal Open University Library and Information Science Department. Do you know that the name of that journal, this journal, which is known as the International Journal of Librarianship, Librarianship and Information. So this journal is this journal is published from since 2015. But after that, the journal has 10-year record. Then the last 5-year records will be displayed in front of you all guys in the front page of their website, and the rest of the 5 pages, 5 years publication will be shown on their archival material. So, and their clouds and storing. Then you, if you have using the email in email box, there's also option. Do you want to archive this email? Yani that means this is a recordable information. If you want to utilize that information, so you may use that information for the future purpose. We have also cloud backups for the digital archive or digital archiving. Do you all familiar? I think you all guys are familiar with the Google Google Drive. And what we do that, the Google Drive, it all your digital material, like I have all my academic credentials is being uploaded on there. So if I need any kind of information to share with that, I have just going to my archive directory and just share that information to the relevant person or concerned person. So these are being the types of digital archiving and practicing. We all are doing that kind of a thing. We have also take the backups. We are also maintain the web pages. We have also viewing the serial publication as well as the cloud computation, cloud and storage. And there are something which is being we are keep on the web, which is known as cloud. I have just given an example of storage like the Google Drive. Najma Parveen, she is saying that क्या आवाज नहीं आ रही, इनके अलावा किसी और को आवाज नहीं आ रही? Someone else who wants to say that face the problem of voice. I read your messages, Najma Parveen. Thank you. Bushra Rabbani, she is saying that she is listening me. So these are being the site from the archival sites. So you may need to understand that in a sense of storing data or storage of data and retrieve on a real time, which is also known as an archive. Sometimes we have maintain our library records, like in academic library. If you want to verify the status of any student, either he was a member of your library or not, so if you have the backup of that data, if someone else, so they will check himself or herself and they will describe that yes, he is the student because we have the record. So in a cloud storage, sometimes companies are paying a huge amount to keep their data on the online server, and whenever whatever record or access people required, so they will retrieve that data from cloud. Like in the many cases, we have the Bywater. They are just providing the COA on cloud, so they can retrieve their data whenever, whatever, and they are provided the online services, and people can retrieve their data online 24/7. So these are the types of the digital archives, and I'm just share the screen. Yes, I comment you. I will just show you the Karachi Archive. There is a Heritage Foundation of Pakistan, and KMC. We have the historical map of Karachi and whatsoever. So I'm just provide you document. Maybe it will be helpful to you all guys, so you can technically view that what is the you may see that this is the Karachi archival record, and all the archival records you will see here. And this cover, I mentioned that the Karachi municipal record is being staffed, and here is a map of Karachi. You can see that how much it is being old. It is a so old map. I think it is being used in 1910. So it is being the history, and there are so many Karachi libraries. You can get the information, and there are so many sheets. You may see that the Kacheri of the Karachi survey of the F12 1874. Sorry, it is a 1874 F12. This is the document we are seeing that, which is available. If you talk about the calculation, 100 and 47 years old document, 147-year-old document of Karachi. And you may see that how this is the time of spelling of Karachi, how they write Kurrache. So we have so many documents. If you click that document, and you can view the file, And this is the archival record. It is preserved. I hope you all guys see that screen. So these are the historical document. I just it's my wish. I just give you my students to the real example. I don't want to talk in the air. So I will just bring. Yesterday day before yesterday we visited the ISMC library, and today I'm just a view of the Karachi Archive. So it will be helpful for you all guys. So it's an archival newsletter. You may see that this is a 1920 Aga Khan building. I'm sorry, Mohatta Palace. It is one of the renowned building, and you will see that there is a AGH, a survey launch in the 1925. Mohatta Palace is one of the fantastic architect building which is situated at the Clifton. You visited the sea view, near the sea view, and here is a map. You may see that the building of the sheet of the Bandar quarter. You may see that this is the original map, and evolution of the old quarter town planning and building evacuation. You may see that how the structure is being published in the document, and there is the details is NG Modi and who is right that building and the construction and the architects. So how the town planning is being going on. Lawrence Quarter is one of the old area in Karachi, and as well as the Lawrence Garden and Lawrence Road. If someone who has visited, currently the Pakistan National Museum is situated here, and these are the views of the site. Just close that. So it is the time to wrap up. If you have any question regarding the today's presentation, so you may ask. I will appreciate. Your questions are always welcome from my side. If you have any questions, so you can ask me. I will try to respond to your questions. I hope you will enjoy today's lecture as well. You feel so much boring with me, guys. So come to the point. And I come to the quiz, which I was asked with you all guys. The name which is begin from you, like Abid Ali Shah Sahab. Can you tell us a book which is a start from the A? Because you are begin from the A, Abid Sahab, in my chat box. So this question from you all guys. So it is a time to respond the quiz. If you want to answer the quiz, the alphabet which is begin your name, you have to mention a title, a book title. Book is the presently exist. So don't tell us any. These are being the references which I use in this presentation. You may read. This is one of the good article, dissertation, doctoral dissertation. You may read. It is always which is available in a PDF format. So you may visit that. There's a doctorate thesis, as well as there is an article which is published in electronic e-journals. The archive, the changing nature, and whose responsibility. So for all these notes, F, Frontier Gandhi, and G for the grand jury. Yes, thank you, Farhana. You are the one of the genius student and of today's class, and you actively participate on the quiz, and you are saying that the Frontier Gandhi. Sabah Hamid is asking, she's asking that the purpose of museum library record. I will talk about this topic on when we discuss about the archival center. I will remind me on the last lecture. So anyone else who will tell about the book? Kaisar Abbas is saying that lecture, we have decided the protocol in our first lecture. What should we use on that? So for all those notes, if one question I will take you regarding the museum and MLI library. So this is the question and answer session. You need that. For all that, for you also, if you need the presentation, you can email me, which is display on your screen. You can follow my Twitter handler as well as my YouTube channel, 5 minutes information, and as well as you also follow on the ResearchGate if you need interest in my research work. For all these notes, thank you all guys to bear me at least in 90 minutes. If you have any question. One more, we have decided a protocol that in the lecture will be conducted in English. Kaisar Abbas Sahab, if you have any objection, then you have mentioned on the same date on the day one. I was just asking for everyone. So it would be better. I will suggest you could keep the lecture on English language. That will be helpful for you all guys. So that will be beneficial for you all guys. To improve your English as well as your listening power, because you are become the future graduate and you will got the good job of BPS 17. So or you got the job of any competitive exam like Central Public Service Commission, Punjab Public Service Commission, or Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Public Service Commission, or Pakistan Public Service Commission. So there is